Margaret wrote to us 3 days after we posted the listing. Her letter was short, almost too short, like she was afraid that if she wrote too much, it would become too real. The address was in a quiet suburb. Milena and I drove out on a Saturday morning. It was the most ordinary house on the most ordinary street. The kind of house people mean when they say nothing special. Neat lawn, mailbox with a number on it, neighbors with equally neat lawns on either side. Nothing that would hint at what was happening inside. The door opened almost immediately, like she'd been waiting right behind it. Margaret, 35, maybe a little more. Dark hair pulled back loosely, a home cardigan. A face that would have been pretty if not for her eyes. The circles under them were so dark, they looked like they'd been drawn there deliberately. 3 months without proper sleep. You could see it in every line of her face. But when she saw us, something in her broke. In a good way. Like a dam that had been holding for a very long time finally found a crack. She didn't say hello. She grabbed Milena's hand and pulled her inside. We sat at the coffee table. Margaret held her mug with both hands, like it was the only warm thing left to hold on to. She started from the beginning. Her great-aunt Clarice had passed away from cancer a few months ago. Quickly, meaning fast, though she'd been sick for a long time. Clarice had left her the house. Before this, Margaret and her daughter had been living in a small apartment in the city center. Crowded, loud, expensive. This house was a gift. Space, quiet, a garden. The first few weeks, the two of them were happy, genuinely happy. And then things started happening that couldn't be explained by drafts. One morning, Margaret stepped out of the shower and found a word on the fogged mirror, written by a finger. One word: run. Then, her daughter's school notebooks. Someone was writing in them. In a crooked, unfamiliar handwriting, pencil pressed hard between pages of homework. I am here. Leave. And then one night her daughter burst into her room, crying, screaming. She had seen a figure, a dark figure leaning over her while she slept. The figure was watching her. Margaret was still talking when it happened. The vase, sitting on the mantelpiece, where it always sat. It fell. Just fell, without reason, without a draft, without any vibration. It simply moved to the edge and dropped. Milena and I looked at each other. Margaret slowly turned her head toward the fireplace, looked at the broken vase, let out a long, heavy breath. The breath of someone who has run out of the energy to be surprised, and said, "Well, there it goes again." I asked Margaret to close the curtains. While she did, I took candles from my bag and placed them around the room. Then, an old radio receiver. I'd modified it a few months ago, removed the ability to tune to regular stations, left only the white noise between frequencies. It's called a spirit box. The theory is simple. Spirits can use electromagnetic waves as a channel of communication. The static isn't just static. Milena lit the candles. Margaret watched us with the expression of someone who wasn't sure whether this was help or a new flavor of madness. I turned the receiver on. At first, there was only noise. White noise. Static. The crackle of frequencies. Nothing. And then, a word. Through all that chaos, one clear word. Leave. Margaret's mouth opened. Then again, mine. A pause. House. Milena gripped the tablecloth in her fist without realizing it. I asked Margaret, what was her aunt's name? Clarice, she whispered. I turned toward the empty center of the room and asked quietly, is that you, Clarice? Silence. Static. And then, through the interference, broken but unmistakable, Clarice. Margaret covered her face with her hands. Margaret asked quietly, what do we do now? I said, we simply explain to her that it's time to move on. Not chase her away, explain. I placed the candles in a circle on the floor. The three of us sat inside that circle, held hands. Margaret between me and Milena, her hands were shaking. I said, Clarice, if you're here, give us a sign. Silence. 1 second, 2, and then a gentle breath of wind, which couldn't be there. Windows shut, curtains drawn, but it was there, and one candle went out. I looked at Margaret and nodded. She understood, closed her eyes, squeezed our hands harder, and began to speak. Margaret took a deep breath, opened her eyes, and said, I feel lighter. I think she heard me. I didn't answer, because I don't know whether she heard. Nobody knows. But something in the room had changed. The air felt different. Even Milena felt it. I could see it in her face. Sometimes that's enough. We said goodbye at the door. Margaret was different. Not healed, not in one day, but different. The exhaustion was still there, but behind it now there was something else. Hope, maybe. Or simply relief. She hugged Milena for a long time, then hugged me briefly, tightly, whispered thank you. We walked to the car. I didn't look back. Milena did. I felt it, though I didn't see it. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived from Margaret. My daughter and I are doing well. The house is quiet and peaceful. We're finally sleeping. Thank you so much. Milena read it aloud, twice, smiling. I looked at the screen and thought about Clarice, about how she probably just wanted to know that her house was in good hands, that the years she spent in it weren't wasted, that someone remembered her. A sharp notification sound cut through the silence. A new letter. Milena opened it, read it, slowly raised her eyes to mine, and said, "We're going to Texas?"